Happy Monday. It's late. It's evening. It's 5:30 my time. And I don't even know if anyone's even around. But that's okay. I was going to stream today, but then my yoga class is canceled. Hey, Olu. Ugh. Anyway, I'm Jen Schiffer. This is my stream that's usually at 3 in the afternoon, but it's 5:30 at night. And it's Monday, and it's a new week, and I had some adventures early today that delayed things, and then I was not going to do anything, but then aerial yoga was canceled. So I'm here. Might as well get some work done, right? If I'm not hanging upside down like a bat, might as well be right side up on my office chair. And it looks like the chat box is working, so the Google Cloud outage of Thursday has settled itself. Gosh bless. My drinks of the stream is the tail end of my almond milk iced latte and a sugar-free iced tea. And yeah, what's new today? Let's do the display share. Oh, also one thing. Let me go back to webcam. I'm getting my hair cut tomorrow, so take it in, cause who knows what it will look like. It's actually really like unwashed, and I sweat a lot because I walked really fast to the pharmacy, which is like an over mile walk each way. But all I know is that this is being trimmed, and so are my layers so that they're not so flat. But I'll probably keep growing it. But I don't know, I'm seeing a new stylist tomorrow, so anyway, just wanted to give full view. You know, it's always when I'm about to have my hair cut where my hair starts looking really nice at its most gross. And so, of course, I know that's the right time to get a haircut because today it looks nice at its most gross. I went to the pharmacy. I got my 3-month supply of pills that cost $500,000. And they couldn't find my name in the system. He kept trying to spell it with 2 E's instead of S-C-H-I, S-C-H-E. And then they still couldn't find it in the system. And then they went to another computer and they were able to find it there. And that had happened 3 months ago. And they said, yeah, we just don't know why it does that. It's haunted. Although, how long have you been doing Arial? So cool. I spelled it like the font was so confused when I looked wrong at first. Yeah, it's just Arial at the E. I've been doing aerial yoga technically, consistently, just shy of 2 years. It was 2 years ago in August. It'll be 2 years in August where I started going at least once a week. And then I progressed to 2 times a week, 2 foundational courses. And recently I've started going 3 times a week. The 3rd edition being a mixed level, which is a much like more physical athletic class. But I had done aerial couple like right before COVID. There's a studio near our old office, and my coworker and I used to go once every couple of weeks. It wasn't really all that regular, but enough where I was like, oh, I like this. And then there's a studio in Jersey City. So the one in Union Square, if you're ever in New York, you want to take an aerial course, Factory, terrible name, but nice studio. But a big part of what has pushed me to go to 3 classes a week, besides the fact I want to progress in my classes, is that I moved towards paying a per month fee. Wow. So I pay $120 a month for unlimited classes. And so if there's like 4 to 5 weeks a month and I go 3 times, I'm like really just trying to maximize my spend, because New York area fitness classes are typically $30 to $40, which is crazy in my opinion. And so if I were to really take as many courses as possible, like let me see how many I took last month. I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 10. So last month I had done 10 courses in the payment period, so they came out to $12 a class, which is like a great deal. It's a bargain. If you're a student, you can get at the studio. If you're a student, like higher education student, you can get unlimited for $60. And there is one student that goes there. She's really cool. But yeah, lots of it's good. I highly recommend it. Aerial yoga is a mix of yoga and circus. I don't go too high off the ground. It's pretty much like a hybrid of using the aerial silk, like hammock style, not the 2 silks coming down from the ceiling. I'm using the hammock as like a guide, or just like another limb, essentially. I was when you said 49 Roberts, I had no idea what you were talking about, but I knew that you would clarify. 49 Roberts. Yeah, $40. It's like, let's see, Home Factory, Union Square. Classes. Home Factory does all sorts of. They have aerial yoga, aerial dance, circus, bungee, acro yoga. This is like aerial yoga, doing shit like this. Oh, they're doing a training. I primarily go to a studio in Jersey City since I quit my job in Manhattan. The classes in Om Factory are longer too. How much does it cost? Yeah, one single class, $40. But then you could do a 10 class pack. This class is very expensive. But the one I go to in Jersey City, I think a standard class might be $30. I was doing the 10 packs, which made them come out to $25, and I wanted to go more, so I did the monthly. A lot of people that come to the class come through via ClassPass, and I don't know how much they're spending. I'm always like, if it doesn't put the weight limit and price up front, it's fetch all. Well, you know, the thing with aerial yoga is, at least for my studio, pretty good diverse range of bodies. The instructors are tiny, but the silks hanging from the ceiling, the rigging points are like mountain climbing gear. I think like each of them can handle like Let's see, what is the average weight of a small elephant? That's how they describe it. And I was guessing that's like at least 800 pounds. How about a baby elephant? That's not true. It's at least 500 pounds. They said at least 500 pounds. The only hard part is, so like when I started Ariel was between the time I started Ariel a couple years ago and today, I had gained about 30 pounds because of my thyroid disease. And that's like, I also gained muscle in that, but I made some significant weight increase. So what I noticed with that extra weight on me, mostly in my like belly and thighs, like I would say like 90% of my weight is between my belly button and my knees. The silks wrapping around my leg, it takes more fabric. So it definitely got more difficult. But more because of but there are adjustments that you can do to get around that. You just have to like keep going. I recommend aerial yoga for if you want to do yoga and you are of a larger size. I think it's worth a shot. I think I have an easier time balancing with the silk versus like my own body, or at least I used to. Now with the silk, I've become more accustomed to like how my body works. So it's like nice to have that like physical aid with you in the form of a silk. I highly recommend it. So yeah. Well, if you're ever in the New York area and you got time to spare, let me know. I'll take you to an aerial class. But okay, let's get into what else is new. Okay, so I got my pills from my walk today. I got my coffee. I wrote my retro from last week and published that today. Look at this cute cat. Look at this cute cat. So I published that today. And let's get into the dash. I think that what I did last... Okay, so my last edited was from the 12th, which was Thursday. I went through and archived a bunch of stuff. Oh yeah, are you doing recurse, or are you gonna do recurse? An SFPC shouts out. What page was I on? Oh yeah. Okay. Wow, look at this jump from 2025 down to 2018. We're gonna get, so 2018 was, we had just fundraised, but I don't think it was public yet. I was on the path to hiring a support eng lead. We fundraised. Glitch, like Fog Creek became the startup glitch. We moved into our own office a couple blocks from where the Fog Creek office used to be. And yeah. Okay, so you did do recurse. You did remote and worked. Oh, okay. I've not done recurse, but I have a lot of friends and former coworkers who did recurse and really enjoyed it. And they're a really I would say tight-knit community. Like they're a very I guess tight-knit implies inclusive or exclusive. They're very good at keeping in community with each other. Jamie Brew, my Robot Karaoke co-host, he has done Recurse. So he's always doing events, and a lot of people come to our show who learned about it through his talks at Recurse. So that reminds me, when's the next show? July 14th. I think we've got others that we're scheduling, but we just haven't gotten it in the books yet. Okay, let's dive in. So now a lot of these projects are probably just like DevRel starters that I was making. Font awesome, export tool. Okay, this is a starter. Font awesome export. Okay. This is just a utility for exporting that. Okay. Creative Bootstrap website template. This is old Bootstrap. Is this Anil? No, me and Gareth. Anil, obsessed with Bootstrap. Are you trying to export all of them? I only just realized this is session 11. I have exported. Actually, I should get into that. For people who are not watching live, hello. But for those also who are watching live, hello. So I have, let's see. I have a folder here. I have exported all of my projects already, archived and active in from a Python script that Pomax made, and Potch did like a graphical user interface version, but you can find, if you go to support.glitch.com, you can find all the discussions about the migration. So I have exported it, but I am going through each of my projects to see how I would categorize them while they're live on Glitch, so it's easy to see, versus me having to, after the July 8th shutdown, which is when project hosting shuts down, you'll still be able to export, but the projects won't have a server to run on, so you'd have to do that yourself locally. And that's a pain in the anus, as my estranged father would say. And so that's why I'm doing this now. We are a couple of weeks away from project hosting shutting down. There's 3 weeks. So I'm exporting these individually. I'm archiving them if I don't plan on setting a redirect or migrating, but I'm putting them into various categories, like are they node apps? Like, well, I need a node server to migrate. Are they just static? In which case I'll just put them onto my .com, jenschiffer.com, which I've started doing, and I've created a WebRing style way to navigate the Glitch apps. I went over that in last stream, and I'll do it again once I start moving stuff over. I've only done 4 projects here. And then a lot of them I'm not gonna like keep live, but I just want to have them categorized in case I need to find them at some other point. So like this one's like, this is an early days of Gareth, who Gareth was our head of marketing when I joined Fog Creek, and we worked together a lot and stuff. Creative Bootstrap. Let's see. Excel spreadsheet. Is this coming from an Excel? That's a GIF. Okay, this has the categorization. It makes a lot more sense in my brain I'm glad that it's coming across as not totally crazy. But yeah, I'm gonna archive that, I'm gonna archive that. Excel spreadsheet is another starter. Now these exports, when I download them from the dashboard, if they have assets, like this has this broken GIF, these assets are not included in the zip that I'm downloading. If you export it using that tool that Pomex made or Potch had made in the forum, those will download all of the assets. So these downloads that I have here, when I'm like, okay, I want to put the bank robber app on glitch.com, I'm not even going to unzip this file. I'm just going to go find it here and find bank robber, because that will have any assets. There's none in bank robber, but it will have the assets in this folder here. And I will have to manually replace the URLs with the ones in the glitch assets directory. It's a pain in the ass, but like, that's the cards that Fastly dealt us, so yeah. Alexa weather, I'm not even putting it, I've never had an Alexa. When I joined Fog Creek, it was February 2017, and that prior December, they all got like an Alexa for Christmas. And I think that those things are evil. Those are the devil. That was like, I was like, this is a slippery slope. A thing that listens to you and is owned by Amazon. Who'd have thunk I was right? Now look at the world. It's a shame. Polar app. Oh, this one is an app that my services team had made. It connects to Google and it lets you just generate polls with Google authentication. I'm gonna put that in archive. Archive. Widget. This is fully blank. That's quite strange. There was this one time, it might have been around this time, where there was some bug that was causing like catastrophic data loss. No one was dying, but like as far like projects were going blank and there's no way to retrieve them because part of what was being deleted included the Git folder, and so rewind had nothing. So whatever this is me and Neil and Garrett's widget project is, this is gone forever. It was a brief period where this was going on, but it was months of people discovering it and us having to try to find backups and stuff. Anyway. Okay, November's app, Wood Capybara. This was an audio podcasting app that my services team were early career engineers that came from design and sales engineering. I took them onto a team and we worked on like partnership projects. And so they got to work on a partnership to sell Glitch to them. And we made an app for them. And so this one was an app that we did for WeTransfer. Or it was going to be WeTransfer. Did we ever work out what caused the data loss? I actually don't recall. I think we figured it out and that's how we were able to stop it. But like by the time it was figured out, it had happened to a bunch of projects. And this is around 2018, I believe. I believe this is going on when we were in the original Fog Creek office. So it was like first year Glitch. Yeah. It was all kind of just like in the nature of how I think our dev environment and how we handled containers was also re-architected after that, possibly as a response to it, but yeah. October. Okay, hello level DB. Okay. When we had one of the starters for glitch was SQLite, and there was a time where the owner of the SQLite project, as a protest against projects having codes of conduct and community guidelines, decided to choose this religious text as their community guidelines. And people online were angry about it because it was just kind of making fun of community guidelines, and also like that religious text, like one of the things is like you will not like bed someone outside of marriage. It was very like religious. It might have been a Roman Catholic text. So I made the level DB starter as a backup in case we had to switch our official starter to SQLite. Because people were starting to reach out to be like, hey, do you support SQLite doing this because your starter is SQLite? When, of course, no, we didn't support that, but like it had always been our starter using SQLite. SQLite's a very big popular project. A widely used light database management system. And so for the day of this rolling out, for people to be like, do you support this? This is your starter. It's like, first of all, fucking relax, which I never said. You never tell people that are angry to relax. This is like 7 years ago. So I'll say, relax. Like, we're monitoring the situation. Well, turns out Mozilla was a big sponsor of SQLite. And basically, they told the project owner, we can't sponsor this if you're going to act this way. And so while it's not the... I know I'm going to regret looking this up. They still have the... There's the license. They still have the document, I think, linked on their page. I use SQLite all the time, so I wouldn't be surprised. I'm surprised that more of these aren't purple. I think it was Richard who did it. Anyway, he had to kind of scale back the scope of that document. I think it's still here somewhere, but whatever, it doesn't matter. And we didn't have to make Hello Level DB the new database starter. But yeah, very advanced website. I got, actually, so when the SQLite drama was happening, when he had made this religious text, the guidelines, whatever, I had made the starter, which I'm going to download for starters. And one of the backend devs, he didn't understand why I was doing it. And I explained that this maintainer had done this thing to make fun of this thing, and this backend developer was of this religion that this text represented, and he goes, oh, like, do you think that my religion's a joke? And I was like, no, in fact, I think that this maintainer using this text is making a joke out of your religion, because it shouldn't be. This is a database management system. What is, like, not like what like what are these, like, it wasn't like the 10 commandments, it was an expansion of that. What do these things have to do with database? And then he said, well, I guess we can't joke about anything. I guess we're not allowed to make jokes anymore. And that, like, I told him, like, take a walk. It was like a really contentious thing for something that was, like, so stupid, in my opinion. Like, this is like, it was weird. It just went from, like, a guy I didn't know that worked on a project that we used doing something silly, and then like and just like unnecessary, and it causing unnecessary like drama within like my own team, and it kind of like signaled to me by the way that this person on my team reacted that they just like didn't like me, and this is like their perfect like time to like project that onto me in a silly manner. And yeah, it was like unnecessary. And this is why when like when we talk about like diversity, equity, and inclusion, and like guys are like, can't we just talk about code? Like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, we would love to just talk about the code, but it's you, the guys who are like, it should just be about code, who like insert this kind of other bullshit in protest of some of us just simply existing. And so it becomes less about the code and more about your bullshit that we then have to like eat that shit or try to like work with it. It's just very, very dumb. Oh, it's still up. I'm correct. Yeah. Very, very dumb. Whatever. And then we hired a bunch of people, and I don't know what, after that argument with me and this one developer, we kind of just like left it at like, you know, whatever. We're like, we'll let it go, move forward, whatever. And then months later, maybe even a year later, we hire a bunch of new people, and I take them out for like lunch in the city, and they're all like, oh, we searched the Slack and like found that conversation. Like, they were like, somebody on the team narked on that back-end dev for arguing with me, and all these new people scrolled back into that Slack to find that conversation. And I was like, I understand the urge to, you know, whenever I join a company and they have a chat client, the first thing I do is I search my name to see if because often my reputation precedes me in this space. But to like join a company and hear like, oh, there's this argument with like people that are here, look at it. I was just very like taken aback by that. So I'm very mindful of like, I've always been mindful and disciplined in my communication in the workplace, but that like reminded me, like, that's why anybody that I've managed will say like, yes, like I've gotten the lecture from Jen of everything that you say in Slack, in a git commit message, in a pull request conversation, even if it's like locked into just that team, then anybody new can join. So we don't disparage people who work for competitors, people who could leave here and go work for a competitor. We don't disparage a competitor. Like, yeah, Jackie, Slack digging is so messy. And also I was like, wait, this is a conversation that didn't involve y'all, but like they had heard about it. It was actually, and that was probably the only one of maybe that was the one biggest open to everybody in the Slack argument I was involved in, and it was over something so fucking stupid, and I was right. So yeah. Watch 8-Bit Art is a project that I had started and not yet finished, where I was making a WebSocket chat, a WebSocket view that watches me drawing on a certain thing. I was kind of like, what if Make 8-Bit Art was like a show, and where I was like drawing and people can like watch it. And actually I'm going to continue this project because I would like to have a page on my website where I can like draw and like you could see it as it's happening. So if you happen to be on my webpage when I'm drawing, then cool. If not, it'll show something else. Kind of like a little like TV, if you will. This goes in Node. But I never finished it, which is why it's private. Processing is just a processing demo. WeTransfer. So the WeTransfer we did a partnership with, and I'll probably be early days of Gareth. And this is just like a starter for the API. And Solid, well, Solid, this was Solid is Tim Berners-Lee's vital next layer of the web stack. Tim Berners-Lee wanted this to be Web 3.0 instead of crypto or generative AI. And essentially it's just like a decentralized-ish, of course, wallet. Yeah, Jackie, I was gonna ask you if you got it, because I was like, if anybody understands it here, name you Jackie, you do. I think, like, yeah, I feel like again, this is from like 2018, 2019, and I mean, now it has like a full-on like website. Agentic wallets, data wallets, like, Tim, what's going on? Who else is here? Interrupt instead of disrupt, erupt. What the fuck is an agentic wallet? Connect intelligence with customer curated data for safe and personal AI products. So, okay. Let's talk about the semantic web. When people dig into what I went to grad school for, officially is computational linguistics, but then more people talk to me, they realize like, oh, artificial intelligence. I was like, well, the whole idea is like improving search for a semantic web, which would have been Web 3.0. And I think the closest to that is what Apple Intelligence, yeah, also the trademark for agentic wallets is insane. Maybe TM just stands for Tim. So like Apple Intelligence is where like the data is, in theory, like local to your device, and it's like your behaviors used to then continue behaviors on like said device. The semantic web, the idea was using your own data that you own and that you curate to do things. And ultimately artificial intelligence is involved because your data is what is fed through machine learning to do a thing generatively. A big example that I believe even Sir Tim Berners-Lee had given with semantic web was being able to just like, with a type of a phrase, have a doctor's appointment scheduled. And that's because you've curated on your computer what your calendar is, who your provider is. That provider has curated on their site how to contact them, their calendar, and the machine does the work of the conversation between the two. So it's essentially like the AI model for, like, it's agentic in nature. So what I was studying, we have come to a hyper capitalist bullshit implementation with absolutely no guardrails. But what Tim Berners-Lee wanted was those guardrails, and for them to be user consumer focused, and not corporation, much like the World Wide Web. Instead of like making it a proprietary project, it's a network we all can be on. So great idea. Yes, I did study that, but I did not want to work at Google or Microsoft or Lockheed Martin, or Palantir. So I became a JavaScript web developer and community manager. Anyway, Solid was going to be like, where you'd be able to like have a network of profiles. But do you see this on Firefox, this little sidebar thing? How do I make that go away? It's so stupid. One, OpenAI chatbot? Absolutely not. Who is that? Who's the AI chatbot in Firefox? Do I have to like connect it to something? Anyway, I'm gonna archive this, but interrupt. Okay, let's see. Living While Black is a project I did with Barrington Thurston, which like led to his TED Talk. And we worked a Color of Change on it. You asked some Blue Sky how to hide the AI thing. I should have worked it. I feel like Firefox looked at Arc and was like, ooh, how blessed. So this app would have you check whether the headline is real or not, and you would swipe left and right. So Black Yale student reported to police for sleeping in her dorm. These seemed like, this is from like 2018, 2019. These are supposed to like make people be like, oh, I'm surprised that that's like a thing, but it's not surprising as much in the mainstream. And so he, during his talk, would swipe through these headlines and have the audience do a quiz. You can disable in general tab show sidebar. Glad you mentioned it. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Browser layout. Okay. There we go. Now it just opens bookmarks. Okay. But yeah, it was just like a utility for that. And then he ended up doing a TED Talk with this. It's funny, Barrington was on he was on the old Fog Creek Slack, And like last year, he like messaged me out of the blue and was like, hey, how's it going? And I like didn't see it, and then a month later replied, and he was like, we should just like message each other once every couple of years. But then Fastly had that Slack shut down, so I told him like it's not gonna happen. So we've moved it over to LinkedIn. I'm gonna archive that. And I should probably reach out and make sure that he has a working copy. Okay, August. This is 7 years ago. Jeez. Full page canvas. Oh, this is me. Makes you canvas a full page. So this is a demo I made. Actually, this is a demo in a library to make a full page canvas that I pulled from Make 8-Bit Art, because make8bitart.com, the canvas that you draw on is the full width of the window. In fact, as you increase the window size, the canvas expands. And what you have to do is you have to save the current image, which I do to local storage, increase the size of the canvas, and then redraw that image from local storage. So this is just a demo that shows that one part. And I'm gonna put in starters. Latte signatures. I had a newsletter. I have a newsletter. I haven't posted on it. I haven't sent out a monthly newsletter. I'm like technically, as of now, 2 months behind. But I've been busy. I would, when I signed on like a tablet of a local coffee shop for my iced lattes with almond milk, this is from November 2016, 2018, it would, in the receipt email to me, show my signature, and so I just saved all of them and uploaded them to this glitch app. So these are 39 of my signatures from purchasing iced lattes with almond milk from November 2016 to August 2018. And to this day, when I order an almond milk iced latte, and only an almond milk iced latte, if there's a thing to sign, I will make a square. Every once in a while, people notice it and then they laugh. Because it's funny. Live, laugh, love. Neopets is just a static page made to look like the Neopets page. And Flip Coin. This is just a coin flip app that Allison and Enrique made. Again, this is a services team thing where I was like, let's make little like apps that just do one thing. Flip a coin, generate a random number. So I'm gonna put that in remixes because they made that. I just coached them on it. They did all the hard work. Okay, July. Starter lamp. I'm guessing this is a lamp starter on Glitch, because you could write PHP in a Glitch app. It was not exactly secure, and not necessarily a fun experience, but if you absolutely had to do it, we enabled it. Finished my coffee. 6:22 p.m. A little late, but this is probably not gonna like start because it's very old, and I'm gonna download it into starters, and I'm gonna archive it. Welcome to my guestbook Dino.js. Okay, so I had talked about in a previous stream my Welcome to my guestbook workshop series during the early days of Glitch, where I gave you a static page and taught you how to make it a full stack app. And at the end of the workshop, everyone had their own guestbook. So this is the final, and I would do it live with you. So this was my last iteration that I made at Dinosaur.js. So, yeah. Created by Jen at Fog Creek. I'll put that in the archive, but I don't need that to be live. Intermediate JavaScript. There was... Jackie, what browser have you been using? Do you just use Firefox? I forgot, somebody recommended another browser to me. Not Arc. I've never used Arc. This is probably just something Gareth that popped in, yeah. There have been some browsers that people recommended that are not... It's not the AI part that, like, gets me. Oh, actually, I mean, okay. Oh, you're using vanilla Firefox. Okay, same. So, my issue with Arc browser and why I never used it, it's not necessarily, like, the AI thing. Because early Arc browser, I don't think had any, like, AI features. The problem was that I posted a thread about this on like Blue Sky fairly recently when the news of the Arc browser no longer getting like feature updates and then moving to the Dia, which I guess is their AI browser. My issue is that a lot of companies do not see browsers as security apps. And I think a browser is a security app. It's securing it has so much of my data, and it has to keep that secure. And I have to be able to consent to how it uses it. And it also has to protect me from malice coming from other websites and other users. And when someone's like, we're making a new browser, and they lean more on like, it's about developer experience, I am like, okay, then that's like not for me, because developer experience and like the ability to manage bookmarks is not my highest priority. My priority is how are you gonna use my data to fuck me over? Or how are you gonna profit off of my usage in a way that's exploitative of me? Mozilla is walking on thin ice, but okay, make 8-bit art. This is a prototype, I think, of what would be the drawing view of Watch 8-bit art. Yeah, I'll bookmark manage it. Okay, yeah, so make 8-bit art. I would be drawing on this, and then watch 8-bit art, you can see that drawing live. Yeah. Well, we can archive that. Hello, Passport Local. That's just a local starter for using Passport for authentication. Okay. June, MailChimp starter. It's a MailChimp starter, a sign-up form, an embed. I mean, I should just not be lazy. I should just open all of them. EmpireConf, I did welcome to my guest book at EmpireConf. There's supposed to be EmpireConf this year, and then they canceled it. Okay, we did this with... Oh, we had the guy who was like the tech director of Obama's foundation. And he came and Anil interviewed him, and I made this app that just connects to a newsletter to push that like you should like own your like community contacts. And so yeah, EmpireConf had been a legit decade. Yeah, so they were gonna bring back EmpireConf, and the problem is Empire.js. Is that finding locations is like hard to do. I was at a Chinatown JS where Daniel Kuzino was like, oh yeah, we're bringing it back. And it was like, it's going to be later this year. And I was like, do you have a venue yet? And they said, no, not yet. And so I just knew then, like, it's not happening. Because there's a reason, clearly there's a reason why JSConf is happening, like 45 minutes away from any airport in Maryland. From what I've heard, it's not easy to get to, and that's because venues are super freaking expensive. So not only do you need like a large lead time, but you need like essentially Linux Foundation money, which EmpireConf does not have. You have to be part of the mafia. This is an app I made that hasn't been updated. I made this in January 2018. Essentially wanting you to compare your current salary to how much you'd be making if you made minimum wage. So a tool for empathy. Didn't work. I should update that though. Okay, yeah, welcome to my guest book. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, it wasn't running because it's got old node. But yeah, let's just archive these. But yeah, JSConf is happening. I'm not going because I am a candle maker who's not generated any income since I left my corporate job in September. So I will not be spending $500,000 to go to a Linux Foundation event in seemingly middle of nowhere Maryland, because I don't have an employer to cover the costs. And even if I did have an employer to cover the costs, they probably wouldn't, because my job wouldn't be full-time writing JavaScript. So welcome to my guest book slides. These are my slides for the workshop. I guess archive. I'm just gonna open up all the June. Okay. Gosh, remember Alyssa Explains It All? Oh, of course she fucking uses Cloudflare. Alyssa! I'm a human! Okay. Oh wow, it works. Oh, that's cool. It was broken for a very long time. Lissa Explains was a site that I used to learn HTML. Copyright 1997, 2016. Her site was featured on the Washington Post. Kids Post. Let's see. Trying to gauge how old she was 11. Yeah, how old is she? What is she up to now? This is her personal page. I mean, this is great. I'm assuming she was my age. I'm 16 years old and in the 12th grade. TTFN. Anyway, she had HTML tutorials on her site that were really fun to go through. I don't think, yeah, the forum doesn't exist anymore. But anyway, that was an inspiration for the workshop. Oh, Persian joined me for this one. Cool. And we had a volunteer. The internet kept going down. This is in the medical school on the Upper West Side. Maybe Harlem? So let's get rid of that. Archive. Emoticon. Emoticon was Emoticon was a workshop, an event that we did. Emoticon was put on by Mouse, which is an org that helped create curriculum for New York City public schools. And here's an A-frame starter where I'm not sure why it goes on forever. It's very old. That was like a name badge, and everybody would come to the booth. They would remix the nameplate, put their name in, and then like we would send it to them. And then they had their first, a lot of it was their first web app, and it was their first VR app using A-frame. That was the only event. That's the only time I wore a glitch shirt. I like wore a work shirt for an event. Because Anil made a huge deal about it, and I was like, well, I'm never doing it again. Oh, this is funny. This app looks real. Query param. Okay. So I guess I just made this app that is making fun of when Eggs Genedict, good name, I did pay my student loans off in 2018. I was very lucky. Well, I busted my ass. But I was very fortunate to have my tuition covered and gone to grad school and worked as a assistant so I can teach whatever. So my student loans were fairly manageable to the point that they were paid off 11 15 years after my college career had started. But yeah, when I finished it off, all I got was the email that said, "Congratulations on paying off your student loan." And so I just made a generator to send. That's funny. I'm gonna save that. Whoop. You ever just like get an email and you're just like, you know what? Fuck you. And you know, I think I might have responded to Navient saying, go fuck yourself. 'Cause I do that. This is a Discord bot that I probably was helping somebody with. Right? No. Maybe I was testing it out. Whatever. And now, like, because of the economy, and maybe because my LinkedIn shows that I, like, left my job and I haven't started a new one, all the graduate programs have been reaching out and being like, hey, you want to generate some more student loans? Thank you so much for paying for tickets. You're not getting that money back. They should. That's essentially the deal. Okay, May. There's a lot of May. Oh, I think this is the last date on the edited that comes up. So these are good. Some of these are good projects, but we I guess the fellas updated the database schema to finally start tracking. You know what I asked for when we had this dashboard? I was like, can we please get a column that says when the project was created? And I've updated the database schema. I know that date exists, but around that era of glitch, anytime I ask for a thing, I guess I was just seen as being a pain in the ass because they were probably burnt out or whatever, but who wasn't? So let's just open up. These are a bunch of these are just starters. I mean, these are old. You see, like, Node 4 needs update. Node 4 needs to be put to rest. Oh, mini compiler. That's a fun thing to talk about. Okay, so this is just whatever. These are just things that Gareth and I imported, or he imported and I took over. Mocha and chai. Look at this. Welcome to the HyperDev beta. This is how old some of this shit is. Is this just... This might have even been before I joined Fog Creek, because Anil had become CEO months before and he told me about it. I joined when it was Gomix. Before that was HyperDev. And yeah, I was running Node 4. Damn. I'm gonna download that in archive just to Node 4? Yeah. Actually, I should always pull up the release chart so we can think about. Okay, it end of lifed Yeah, in 2018. The ancient texts. Do not recite to me the dark magic. I was there when it was written. Is essentially the point of the glitch dashboard that we have reached. Slack onboarding bot. Okay, let me archive these. Okay. Look at this. Now, gosh, remember Firefox's 3D view? So here we have a Lua compiler. This, I believe Daniel, I don't know if Jacob made it. I think Daniel initially added this. What's funny about this is everybody was like, Lua? Why Lua? But did you know that Roblox's language is Lua, or a fork of Lua? Yeah. Gradually typed in beta, so Luau, which is derived from Lua 5.1. So there was a point where all of a sudden people were writing into support about mini compiler. And I'm like, is there a class using mini compiler? What's going on? And it was just like, oh no, it's just like the Roblox kids were searching how to like program stuff on Glitch, and I don't know, I thought that was pretty cool. Space program. Drawing game. I already know what this is. Fogbugs.js. Dear God. This is just a blank. Oh, I have a good story for that. Jen speaks at NYU Link. Oh gosh. Deconstruct Conf. This is just a space game. Gareth imported. Another old import. None of these are interesting. This is just a wrapper around the Fogbugs API. Fogbugs is the project management software that Fog Creek made all of its money on while Glitch was an R&D project. And then it kind of like lost market share when everyone started making project management software. Even the Glitch team refused to use Fogbugs, which I tried to mediate in the early days because I was like, well, look, everyone else in the company is working on this thing and we're not using it. And there was definitely resentment. It was so unnecessary. It was just a lot of fucking emotions and drama over like the dumbest shit. That's what happens when you like give free food to developers. They don't have to like, when you don't have to like worry about like where your food's coming from or like where you're living, like, and you're like nurtured to like only care about like yourself, and also you work at a company that like help perpetuate this idea that developers are the most important people on the planet, then like all you have like mind space, like headspace left for is like stupid drama bullshit. Anyway, this is just a thing. Okay. This was a project I made in college in my first web development course that I moved over to Glitch. And I know what like it's going to create, but past perfect, we have streamed. Plural a noun. Sodies. That's plural for soda. Give me a noun. Latte. Give me past continued. An event or time. Dinner. Name a person or type of person. JavaScript developer. Let me spell that right. So it's just Mad Libs. And then it like creates This Is Just to Say by William Carlos Williams, who, this is a famous poem, but William Carlos Williams is from New Jersey. Adjective. Tired. Slow. Hungry. Jen. This Is Just a Stream, an adaptation of William Carlos Williams' poem by Jen. I have streamed the sodies that were in the latte in which you were probably streaming for dinner. Forgive, JavaScript developer, they were tired, so slow, and so hungry. And that was just the app of me. We're happy, it was World Poetry Day, and so I was like, oh, let me import this, I made this in probably 2003 originally, not on Glitch didn't exist then, but I made it in college. I will be importing that. It doesn't have to be full stack. We're at this time where Glitch all apps are full stack. They all have Node, even though a lot of them could just be static. We just had not built the ability to have a generated static site. This was, I think, just a talk. Women in computers. I think this is a computer club. Well, it's just screenshots of stuff. Feedback is everywhere. Not all men, not all women, blah blah blah. This book, I've talked about this book in a past stream. I talk about it all the time. This book really was foundational to, I read this in college, and I'm glad I did, because it opened my eyes to be aware of misogyny, not just from the men around me, but also the women. That's where the not all women part comes from. Because I was dealing, of course, with sexism from the men, but I was also dealing with it from the women I worked for and with, and that was much harder to navigate, and it's called Who's Afraid of Marie Curie? The Challenges Facing Women in Science and Technology. Oh, is it off screen? Oh, sorry. I didn't realize my browser moved it. There you go. But that's where the not only men part came. I was teaching these students how to be aware of you have to use discernment with what feedback is actually good challenging feedback, or is it just someone projecting, and knowing that projection comes from all walks of life and not just men as we typically talk about. I'll have to put this in the archive. My page about snakes. Best snake page in the net. So this is an empty website template. So this is another promo, or our program we did with the community, probably the start of 2018, to get people to make their first web page. So it's literally just a starter web app. This was static, so this must be later. Interesting. I don't know. This is a talk I did at Deconstruct. It was always nice when people, every time you gave a conference talk back in the day, the first question would be are there slides? Dude, let me take them, let me unmic myself first before you attack me. And it was just nice to be yes, and they're already live, here they are. I think it was like a form of like small talk, I guess, for some people. They didn't like have a question, but they like wanted to engage in some way. So I was always happy to, but it was always just interesting. It was always interesting when I would give a talk. I can tell how bristled people were by it when the only question I would get is, are the slides available? And there's nothing else to like engage with. It was either like just that or someone getting argumentative. And you try to find the balance. You want to like evoke emotion, but also have like a productive conversation. Oh, hey, Stefan. Stefan Hayden is in the house. We're going through the deep, deep depths of the dashboard now. Archive that. Okay. Nail polish. Next book. These are projects that I started and didn't finish. Oh gosh, my Catskills comp talk. There's a makeup API, and I was teaching a coworker on the Fogbugs team how to consume an API. And this is the example, and it calls that API, gets all the names, and prints out the colors of them. And it still works. I have to look into... This is from like 2018, so it's interesting to find a thing that still works. It probably doesn't need to be Node, but... Yeah, it's all client-side. Well, there's backup. Oh, is it calling it from the backup, maybe? I don't know. I started making an app that basically lets you publish a book using Next.js. Again, 2018 Next.js. There's no way this is gonna run. Oh, maybe it will. Yeah, it's not happening. This is like, these things exist now. Actually, I'm gonna put sold. Gen face emoji. Oh, okay. Let's see. Oh, it needs to be Google Canary. Look at that. Look at the sparkly emoji pre-Gen AI. Okay, so this doesn't work. This would add like emoji body parts over your face. Dan Reeves made the original one, and then I updated it to add parts of my face to it. I'm gonna archive that. Vart. This is... I started moving my Vart demos to Glitch. And I was going to have them be the embeds on Vart, but I'm glad that I didn't finish it because I would then be moving them all back to CodePen. But good to have in the archive, regardless. Starter static. This is just my starter page. One of my early starters. Okay. Catskills comp talk. I went off the script with this talk so much. That was a Fog Creek. This is a little stupid graphic we had to show to explain, because it was important that we mentioned fog bugs and Jolt software, but also that Stack Overflow was not just created by Fog Creek. It was also co-created by Jeff Atwood. But I was there to talk about Glitch. Oh, here's an old screenshot of Glitch. Doesn't look too different. Look at my wood finish. This must have been Chrome that I was on. Here's Make 8-bit art. Has not changed its UI a bit. I used to have Instagram, and I used to have a vanity URL, but then I got rid of it because people were getting scary. That's a story for another time. I'm gonna put that in the archive. Archive. Okay. Shore Liver static app for Empire Conf 2017 Glitch Workshop, that was welcome to my guest book, right? I don't think I did more than one Empire Conf workshop. Yeah, okay, whatever. The 5th bonus part of the starter app for my clock workshop. Okay. Oh, in this bonus part we use set interval to update the clock every minute instead of making the user refresh the page. So in the last stream, this is where we get into like when I went on the road to like developer evangelize Glitch. So I did like a lot of workshops and a lot of demos. So this is the advanced part of, oh, workshop. That's a good place to put talk stuff. Oh, I gave a workshop, like a I think like 3-day workshop at the Wing, which is an all-women's space in New York. Very controversial. It ended in controversy. And I did a workshop and I didn't get paid. I think they just like assumed I was doing it out of the goodness of my heart. But then it was like, okay, well, whatever. That means I own these materials. This, of course, there's no files in here. Okay. You know people who worked at the Wing and other similar places. Yeah, I knew one of the founders of the Wing and I joined at the beginning. I was only there for a year because after a year they took that WeWork money and grew way too fast and events were hard to get to. But like there were some really cool events. Like I got to meet Gillian Anderson. I got to ask her a question about like what book she was reading on vacation and she like looked at me and smiled. Like got to talk to Yara Shahidi about Giovanni's Room by James Baldwin, just one of my favorite books and it's her favorite book. Like I got to have conversations with really interesting, wonderful women. But they took that WeWork money before WeWork went out the way it did. But yeah. So I showed CSS, accessibility, basically walked them through making a page, and then there was the intro to JavaScript, where we made a clock. Anyway. Sucks that this HTML starter got emptied out, but whatever. But yeah, they expanded to multiple locations within New York and then all over the world, and then weren't treating their employees very well, which sucks because I befriended a bunch of the people that had worked in the New York locations. They were really cool, kind women and hard workers, and to find out that they weren't being treated well is very unfortunate. I mean, this is like, it was weird. Like my friend was a member with me, and she's a black woman, and we were both talking before all the drama. We both were talking about how, like, between our workplaces and like the meetups that we go to, the wing was by far the most diverse environment that we've been in, because there were lots of really great women from all different backgrounds and jobs and first languages and race. It was like the most diverse group of women that a lot of us have been around, and then it all got lost because like white women will gravitate towards what the rich white men want and have to offer, I guess. And they lost a good thing. And then also there was drama of men's rights activists demanding access to the space. I had a friend who was showering there, and she was like coming out of the shower, and there was like a guy there getting a tour because like they were like, I don't know if it got to some case in court, but they were required to let men into the space, and it was, I don't know, it becomes more dangerous for women when men are allowed in the space. So there's like a lot of stuff where it was just like, okay, the world and the people who have the power are not ready to create this thing. Code notate. This is, I believe, me exploring through the idea of literary programming, the annotation of one's code. There's another project where this had come across in a prior stream later in time from this, but I wanted to be able to have a feature where, like, within Glitch you can annotate your code. And so I will revisit this for sure. But when I do and everyone's like, whoa, that's so great, you'll know that, like, oh yeah, Jen started this in, like, at the latest 2018. I will go so far to say that this is something I'd been exploring since college. Oh. Rogue April. I think my former colleague at Fog Creek, Nathan, made this app. And used to be able to favorite projects in Glitch. Yeah, I don't think this necessarily works. The whole idea was that, like, you can randomly look at different glitch apps that have been made. But that API is very old. First app. Here's more workshop stuff. Make Hexel art talk. Some Slack bots. So in 2018 was our New Year's resolution workshop. I already showed that in action, so. Hello world, I'm a Hexel artist now. I don't know where I gave this talk. That's a light bright. And that's the grid of a light bright, which are hexagonal in nature. The pegs are round, but the grid is hexagonal. Hexagons are... Some researchers have shown that, like, if a monitor like light grid was hexagonal, you would get higher quality for less amount of data. It's just, like, I think hard to make that hardware because hexagons are mathematically more complex to draw than, say, a square grid. And here's like an example of like me drawing a hexagonal grid. It took me significantly longer and more math and a protractor to draw just a simple grid of 4 hexagons. But I know the math, and that's where I have, this is like an old make 8-bit art. There's a screen, and there I have this video. I don't think this video is live anymore. I gave a talk at Genius about Bresenham's line algorithm. The comments were horrendous. They were roasting me. Someone said that I look like Ellie Goulding, which she's beautiful, but this is before she had work done on her face, and I was like, you're right, we do look like each other. But it was like Ellie Goulding, but a nerd. And I was like, okay, relax. Oh, this is just an embed of Make Hexel art, which I like greatly annotated. And then some resources. I don't know where I gave this talk, but let me put that in workshops. And these are just bot starters I made for Slack. This would just take what you wrote and parse it using the WordNick API. And this is just like a count. Probably don't even work anymore. Again, old Slack stuff. Let's finish out the last edited, and then I'll close the stream because it's getting late and I gotta make dinner. Campaign 0 was, the widget doesn't work. We worked with the team at Campaign 0. They collect data and bring awareness to policing, incarceration, and its impacts. I've talked a lot about my work in the WPA and giving talks on how technology enables the mass policing. But this widget doesn't even work, so. This is a import of a library I made that you can use called No Secrets for NSA. That quite literally, you have to say if you're NSA or not. If you say okay, it says you can't see the secrets. This is like a thing I had made for CSS Perverts, my old satire publication, if you can even call it that. Ask a Cop. This is where you had to say if you're mobile or not. And it would show an image that's small if you said you were mobile. It's another CSS Perverts production. Silly. Oh gosh, this is a TED Talk thing. Welcome, JS. Let's see. So this is just show a welcome and teach you about the console. Whatever. And then just building some bridges. Oh, so this was it's a P5 powered. Oh, okay. So I made this game where you had to precisely match the corner of the points of the bridge. And it's hard because it's like it moves weirdly. And I don't know if I want to spend... Ooh, is that it? That should work. I don't know. I'll have to revisit that because it's a fun little archive. Cool. Okay. That leaves all these things that are not, that have no edited. These projects have not been opened since at least May 15th. And they are old as dirt. So that's fun. Some of them do have project hours. But, and a lot of them are not created by me. I think a bunch of these are going to be ones that Gareth had made. But we'll get into it. I would love to blast through all of those tomorrow after I get my hair cut. So yeah, I think I'm going to end stuff there. Let's see if we can get through at least I mean me. I'm the one that's taking forever on this. I would love to finish getting all these the next 2 days, and then like next week, if not later this week, we can actually start migrating some of these to my existing site or perhaps other platforms. So thank you for joining me on this late stream. It was lovely to have you in the chat, and if you're watching the VOD, thanks for joining. I'm going to... Why is my webcam not the full width of the box? I'll have to figure that out off stream. Anyway, have a good night, and I'll see you on glitch.com. bye.